Philadelphia is quickly closing in on 400 homicides so far this year. As of midnight, the number is 397. One was a 29-year-old driver in North Philadelphia. Terrell Harris was found around 7:30 last night near North 21st Street and Glenwood Avenue. He'd been shot multiple times and was pronounced dead at a hospital. Harris was in a Toyota Camry with a Lyft sticker. Lyft tells Eyewitness News they do not believe Harris was a driver for them. As of now, no one has been arrested.
First, there was Vegas, then Atlantic City. Now,
County, an investigation is underway after the body of a baby was found in a bag. Eyewitness News reporter Jasmine Payute is in Upper Darby tonight. Jasmine?
Yuki, good evening. Officials would not say how old the baby was or if it was a boy or a girl, but residents told me today the heartbreak they feel over this is personal.
Awful thing to hear, awful thing to see. Like, it's just terrible. I've never seen anything like this out here. Nothing. Even hearing about it is awful, awful.
Shock and horror in Upper Darby after an infant was found abandoned and lifeless.
Dumped it in an alleyway like it was trash. That's not okay. That's a whole baby.
Officials say residents found the newborn in a bag near Snowden Road and Patterson Avenue around 4 o'clock Thursday afternoon.
Witnesses had placed the bag there earlier this afternoon when the rain had started, and the bag was at that bottom of the alley right there.
Hearing about it, I'm a mother. That's horrible. I couldn't imagine anything like that.
Jessica Stanton lives nearby. She says she was on her way to pick up her daughter from school when she saw the crime scene tape, sea of officers, and a sight she'll never forget.
I literally came out. If I come out my alleyway and stand, you can see the baby on the ground, and you can see like the cover over top of it if you come out my house.
Investigators reminding people that under Pennsylvania's safe haven law, parents can drop off a newborn under 28 days. No questions asked.
Anybody who's in any type of situation where they're not comfortable with or they're not sure what they can do, firehouse, police department, any medical facility, you can call 911. You can plenty of places to drop a baby off.
I believe it's probably like a young person. Didn't know what to do, probably scared.
This is still a very active investigation. Detectives say they are now speaking with witnesses and looking for surveillance as they work to find out who's responsible. Live in Upper Darby, Jasmine Payute, CBS 3.
Getting a pair of deadly shootings in Queens. The first happened around 10:45 last night in front of a home on 102nd Road in Ozone Park. Police say the victim, a 20-year-old man, was taken to the hospital by private means after being shot in the torso and leg. He later died at Jamaica Hospital Medical Center. Police report no arrests in the case. In Astoria, one man was killed, another injured in a shooting last night. Police say gunfire broke out at the Astoria houses just after 11 o'clock. 31-year-old Anthony Edwards died after being shot in the face. Another man was shot in the groin and is stable. So far, no arrests have been made.
A violent week across Harris County. A deadly domestic dispute under investigation. A woman dies after being shot multiple times. This happened off Cypress Station Drive and Cypress Trace Road, just around the corner from where two people were shot and killed yesterday. KPRC2's Jonathan Martinez there now. So, Jonathan, what are investigators saying?
You know what, Andy, hours after this shooting happened, investigators are still out here. They're combing through some of the evidence. Meantime, they are still searching for the suspect responsible. From Sky 2, deputies with the Harris County Sheriff's Office can be seen investigating a deadly shooting.
We heard the ambulance and stuff, so we came outside and we walked around and we seen the lady.
According to investigators, deputies were called out to the 900 block of Cypress Station for a report of a shooting Thursday morning. When they got to the scene, investigators say they found a woman dead who had been shot several times.
Upon arrival, units found the body of a female deceased in the courtyard of the apartment complex.
Deputies say so far the person responsible has yet to be arrested. Investigators also say the victim's boyfriend, who was with her at the time, is considered a person of interest and is yet to be located.
He was gone at the time that the deputies arrived, so we are looking for him to try and get some more information.
Neighbors also tell us this is the very same complex. Deputies responded to a double shooting yesterday that left two people dead.
Nobody really moved when you hear shots. You don't move because you hear it every day, every night.
It was determined, has been determined that it's positively no nexus to this shooting today.
Although the shootings aren't in any way connected, neighbors tell us the violence is concerning.
Scared, anxiety be through the roof over here. Last night I couldn't really even sleep, so because I want to know what's going on. I'm trying to be alert.
If you have any information about this case, you're urged to contact the Harris County Sheriff's Office. We are reporting live from North Harris County. I'm Jonathan Martinez, KPRC 2.
Hey, guys. There's been a deadly shooting in West Philadelphia. A man was shot once in the head and multiple times throughout his body. Police responded to the 6100 block of Arch Street. The man was pronounced dead at the hospital. So far, no one has been arrested.
Right now, we're learning more about two Simeon High School students, both shot and killed yesterday. Their murders, only 4 hours apart.
CBS 2 Suzanne Lemagneau is live with those who knew one of the victims. Suzanne, they were both only 15 years old.
Erica Brad Cantrell McNeil, he turned 15, listen to this, just 2 days ago. He loved basketball, and he would come here to Chicago City Life Center Church every single Wednesday and Friday. He would have been here today. He was part of the Geek Squad basketball team. They traveled around the United States playing teams all over the country. Around 6:30 last night, Simeon student Cantrell McNeil was shot in the head while in a car near this Hyde Park McDonald's. McNeil died this morning. The 15-year-old was with a 14-year-old boy. That teen was shot in the leg and was in critical condition. McNeil was part of Carlil Pittman's Good Kids Mad City Englewood program. The organization uses basketball as an outlet to help young men learn life skills.
Since Cantrell has been a part of the team, he's just been a light in the room. He always comes in with high spirits. He's kind of like a mentor to the older boys, a brother to the boys on the team.
About 4 hours before McNeil was shot, Simeon student Jamari Williams was shot here on the 8300 block of South Holland in front of this shopping plaza. Police say a dark-colored vehicle pulled up to Williams. A person inside shot the 15-year-old multiple times in the chest. Williams's father was the victim of gun violence last month. Chicago Public Schools says in a statement that they are devastated to see the loss of young life, and they extend their condolences to the family and friends impacted. There have been no arrests in either shooting. In Washington Park, Suzanne.
Shootings in just 4 hours.
Police say a total of 5 people were shot. 2 of the victims on the Upper West Side. CBS News' John Diaz joins us live from that scene of that shooting this morning with more. John?
Chris and Mary, police telling us that the shooting happened just shy of 9 o'clock last night. Witnesses say they saw a gray-colored sedan fleeing the scene, and this morning police are still searching for those responsible.
A crime scene takes over the courtyard of the Wise Houses at West 89th Street and Amsterdam Avenue Tuesday night. Here, police say around a dozen shots were fired, injuring 2 people, a woman in her 40s and a man in his 20s.
He was kind of slumped on the ground. He looked like he was in a lot of pain.
Olivia Epson lives in the area. She saw the bloody aftermath. Police say seconds after the woman was shot in the hand, she ran into nearby Central Park. The man fell to the ground at the scene after he was shot in the chest. Both were rushed to the hospital, now in stable condition.
I came over to him. He was slumped against a post. There was a lot of blood coming from his chest, a lot of bloody tissues around him, and quite a few police were already at the scene.
This crime far from the only one last night. Police say a man in his 20s is fighting for his life this morning after he was shot in the head on the sidewalk of a school in East New York, Brooklyn, around 7 o'clock last night. It's still not clear if he was the intended target. 2 hours later, and 3 miles away, in a separate shooting in Bed-Stuy, a 17-year-old was shot in his chest on Gates Avenue. He is in critical condition. And around 11 o'clock in Astoria, Queens, a man was shot in his left leg and rushed to the hospital where he is in stable condition. Compared to last year, shooting incidents are up almost 3%, and shooting victims are slightly up only 0.5%.
And back out here on the Upper West Side, police saying that they are still not sure how many shooters were involved here in this case, but they did recover 1 gun here at the scene. As for arrests, police have yet to make any in any of last night's shootings. We're live this morning from the Upper West Side.
A young mother from the suburbs killed. The gun violence growing more out of control by the day. And tonight we're learning more about the young woman, the city's latest victim. I'm Jason Martinez.
I'm Shayna Humphreys. Let's get right outside to Chris O'Connell. Chris, what can you tell us about this tonight?
Well, guys, she was a Delaware County mother of two, gunned down early this morning in North Philadelphia. Tonight, police are still looking for her killers. They don't know why she was killed, but they do believe she was targeted. Philadelphia police identified 24-year-old Chandra Jones of Clifton Heights, a mother of two, seen here on her Instagram page as the city's latest homicide victim. Police say Jones was one of 3 women shot early this morning in Strawberry Mansion. Police say she and a friend just left a nightclub on West Sargent Street around 2:30. A few minutes later, they say a car pulled up next to hers on the corner of 33rd and Diamond and unleashed a hail of gunfire. So far, no motive, but police say they were targeted.
Couple of shooters, based on the ballistic evidence, targeted the vehicle where the 2 women were shot and a second car where a 3rd woman was shot.
The murder happened on the same day officials held their bi-weekly gun violence update.
It takes a lot of life out of me and a lot of energy out of me, and I'm really sorry for what happened to that young lady and everyone else that's been killed.
A lot of frivolous nonsense going on. A lot of people dying for no reason. It's crazy.
She was a good person.
At one point, Jones worked as a youth care worker. Friends say she was trying to make something of her life and her 2 sons she clearly adored.
She used to talk about her son all the time, how much she cared about him, how much she loved him.
Once again, Philadelphia police still looking for those gunmen. Homicide investigators are asking anyone with information or may have been at that nightclub early this morning to call Philadelphia police. Those 2 other women injured still remain hospitalized tonight. Shayna?
It's tragic. Chris O'Connell live at...
News is breaking news. Another child has been shot in the city of Philadelphia.
The 13-year-old was riding in a car with her father when a bullet struck her in the shoulder.
Investigators say their car ended up in the middle of a road rage argument between 2 other drivers. Chopper 6 is over St. Christopher's Hospital, where you can see that vehicle surrounded by police tape. That is the car that the dad and his daughter were in when it all happened.
The father says he was driving on Whitaker Street near Luzerne in Hunting Park when he noticed the drivers of 2 cars acting erratically. The father then tried to get his car out of the way, and that's when he knew they'd been caught in the crossfire.
He drove a little further, and his daughter said to him that she has a burning pain in her back, and he knew immediately that she was shot and brought her over here to the hospital. It's just outrageous that people have no concern for anybody else, and to think that a girl riding in a car with her dad is shot.
Investigators are going to pull all of the nearby surveillance video in hopes of getting a description of the vehicles involved.
Attacked by a fake flower delivery man.
The suspect caught on camera walking up to her home with a large bouquet. The victim says he tased her with her 2 kids inside the home.
And tonight she says her attacker still on the loose. CBS 46's Tori Cooper spoke exclusively to the victim about the terrifying encounter. Good evening, Tori.
Good evening, Alan. Sabrina says that this camera you see above her garage caught someone pulling up here for more than 16 days straight. She says during the course of that time, the individual in that car was able to study her whereabouts and therefore develop a very sophisticated plot to get inside her house. It's a knock at the door. Sabrina says she will never forget.
I'm terrified right now just because, you know, I'm a single mom. I don't live with a man. So now it's like I'm calling my older boy because, like, hey, you want to live with me? You know, like I'm scared for my life. Like,
Sabrina did not want to show her face out of fear that this man in a white shirt seen getting out of a white van with a bouquet of roses may recognize her in this interview.
Like, and I'm not a stupid female. I don't just let random people in my house that seemed like a real home delivery guy. He at least paid like $300 for those flowers.
Sabrina says when she answered her door, the man asked if he could come in to set the flowers down.
He set them down. When he turned around, he pointed something at me. It looked just like a gun, and I was getting tased probably for like 10 seconds.
She managed to remove the taser from her stomach, run upstairs to get her gun and her 2 sons, ages 5 and 10. She called 911, but the man already took off.
I never stepped foot back into that house when I left.
Sabrina then took another look at her surveillance cameras and noticed different cars pulling up to her house at different hours to survey the area. Her camera also caught this man in a mask, dressed as an exterminator at the door just days earlier.
He was there looking. He was sizing up the cameras.
Sabrina hired a private investigator, Sergeant Jay Graham, who says he checked every flower shop in the area, but couldn't tie the bouquet in question back to one location. But he did discover that this man was not looking for wasps, but rather looking at the cameras outside.
I hope somebody got some information and find them.
Now, Sabrina says the man was not wearing any gloves, and therefore she believes his fingerprints are likely still on that vase of flowers. Now, I reached out to the Atlanta Police Department to find out if they ever took any fingerprints, and they did not get back to us as of news time.
They say he is responsible for more than half a dozen robberies targeting the elderly. And one of those brazen crimes was caught on camera as the man is seen going through a victim's pockets. CBS News' Christina Fan is live in the Pelham Parkway section with more. Christina.
Well, Chris and Mary, all of the victims are over the age of 65. The community has flooded this neighborhood with posters with the suspect's face on them, calling him a predator. They say it is urgent to catch him as soon as possible before he inevitably strikes again. Surveillance video shows an unsuspecting man checking for mail as a suspect brazenly rifles through the 90-year-old's pockets, stealing the victim's cell phone and wallet before running away. Police say this same suspect is responsible for at least 7 robberies between May and September, each time targeting vulnerable seniors.
I work with people with disabilities, and they're older, so if that happens, it's really sad and sickening.
Police say all the reported robberies happened in the Bronx. In one case, the suspect threatened a 79-year-old man with a knife inside a residential building near Holland Avenue and Brady Avenue. In another case, the suspect shoved a 76-year-old man against the wall near Webb Avenue and West 197th Street. In both instances, the robber made off with cash.
Some of the elders, they don't even put their money in the bank. They always want their money to be with them. So as such, when they rob them, it's very, very sad.
Police are asking for help tracking down the serial robber. He is described as a man in his 20s with a medium build. He was last seen wearing a red New York Yankees baseball cap, a white polo shirt, black pants, and dark-colored New Balance sneakers. And some of the victims suffered minor injuries like cuts and bruises when they were shoved and pushed to the ground. Police are asking anyone who recognizes the suspect to give Crime Stoppers a call. We're live from the Pelham Parkway section of the Bronx. Christina Fan, CBS 2 News.
Christina, thank you.
This Chopper 2 over the scene of a high school in the Bronx where 2 students were stabbed. Police say it happened outside Harry S. Truman High School on Baychester Avenue just after 3 o'clock this afternoon. 3 students, police say, got into a fight. 2 15-year-old students, a boy and a girl, were stabbed. They were both taken to the hospital. A third person left the scene. The Department of Education says that they are working closely with the NYPD to investigate. These are live pictures that we have here from Chopper 2 over the scene of that high school. Of course, when we get more information, we'll update you here, right here on CBS 2 News.
Scene in Dutchess County where police say a man stabbed his neighbors before taking his own life. It happened along Hickory Lane in the town of Beekman late last night. Police say there was some sort of argument and 32-year-old Willem Salcius stabbed 3 of his neighbors, killing one of them. And then they say he took his own life. Witnesses quickly called 911.
We have an open line, female screaming. Call taker did hear additional shots in the background. The neighbor did stab the caller's husband.
Other victims, we are told, have life-threatening injuries. Investigators do not yet know a motive.